Hey, Nick, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on. Let me feature you front and center here. How's it going?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, great. Thank you for being here. Tell us about your movie.
So, God, Sweet Relief is a, low budget would be an
69.
exaggeration. It's a no budget movie that is, it's, calling itself a horror movie, or everyone's attaching the mumblecore or mumblegore thing to it, or art house, this or that, but it's a movie that sets itself up, at least, to be about this online murder challenge, sort of in the vein of these I don't know if you're aware of like the blue whale challenge thing that happened, or the Momo challenge, these things that parents got freaked out about their kids like killing themselves or each other.
I don't know about it, but I am very familiar with mumblecore. I didn't know it was mumblegore. I mean, mumblecore being like a genre of indie film where people it feels like they're, improvising, kind of catch what they're saying. I love those movies. I mean, you don't see many of them, but I didn't hear about mumblegore or this challenge. Tell us about it. And I want to watch your trailer for your movie. I want to show it to our audience.
Okay.
React to it.
The mumblecore thing is interesting. It's I always think if I was making movies like at 2008, 2009, that would have been great, because that's when everybody was, you could have, bad sound and no money for your movie, and they were actually being shown at South by Southwest a lot and things like that. And it's funny, it's the first time I actually had a sound person, my friend Jack, and this is the movie that's getting called Mumblecore, but I think the sound's very good compared to other things that I've done, but Mumblegore, I don't know. I think it's just, people talk about the, that Duplass Brothers movie Baghead a lot. It's a Mumblegore reference.
I love Baghead.
Yeah. So
and Creep is another good.
The Creep movies, yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, that whole Mumblegore, it's like very, very, very no budget horror film, which some people, said maybe a derogatory term for some people as they come to it, but I think it fits pretty well what we've got here. But yeah, and these murder challenges, it's sort of based on these sort of the panic that happens when a community, a group of parents, catches wind of something that is going to make their kids turn evil, basically, and sort of what happens when you get this psychic sense of and fear of evil coming to get us from the outside, when and that sort of distracts you from the evil that is next door or already present that people aren't noticing. And so that's sort of an abstract way to contextualize the movie and what it's about and everything, I would say.
Let's take a look at the trailer and then we'll talk about it after.
You don't have a choice. It's too late to be saying this type of shit. Hey.
Draw the shades on endless grief and take us to our beds beneath, asleep forever, waking never. Angel, grant us sweet relief. Oh, draw the shades on endless grief and take us to our beds beneath, and take us to our beds beneath, and take us to our beds beneath, and take sweet relief. Angel, grant us sweet relief.
Okay, now that is creepy. Tell us, how did you pull the project together?
So I had we had shot a movie, me and my crew of two, basically, my friend Joey, who I've known since we were 5 years old, and didn't have a sound person yet. We had some people stand in for the sound, but during COVID, we shot this movie called Caucasoid. That was we shot it in 6 days over 2 months, like every other Saturday, every other weekend. We got together for one day, and it's a very slim, no budget, rough around the edges movie, but it was like very like satisfying to shoot an 87-minute movie in 6 days. So I was trying to get my friend Jack on the next one to do sound, and I was like, if we could do this in 6 days straight, it would be much easier, because Jack doesn't have to come to and from Massachusetts and New York, to make the movie. If we make it one trip, like a normal film, but 6 days was 6 days in a row. I hadn't like actually shot a movie in a block of time before. It was always piecemeal over time. So it was my first time trying to do that. So a lot of that, you know, I always really, really, really value limitations and how much that it's, you know, having no money, no resources, it sort of makes a lot of choices for you. And then I think the creativity for me really comes to life when I'm limited. The sandbox is given, and then I can kind of really, really, really come to life in that sandbox, as opposed to, I don't know what I would do if I had all the, you know, means that I could imagine. You know what I mean? If I had the money hose, as like Robert Rodriguez used to say, you know, you can spray it with the money hose, and you don't have to be creative, you know?
Right.
So it was sort of like, that was the first thing, you know, making a shooting movie in 6 days. And I wanted to do a film that was not dealing with one character, which the previous film, Caucasoid, was just all mostly with one character, who was me acting in the movie. So I wanted to be, you know, stay behind the camera for the most part and sort of deal with different storylines, different characters. And it sort of does that thing where there's a few different storylines through the film that meet at the end, and, you know, ways you might expect or not expect, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, we had, instead of having a, you know, a full completed script, I sort of worked over just almost like starting with the possibilities of, you know, the 6-day shooting structure. I'm like, if we shot 2 or 3 pieces a day, you know, 2 during the day, 1 at night, 1 during the day, 2 at night, you know, just thinking about it that way. I was like, all right, so we got 12 segments, 12 scenes, 12 sequences, 12 groupings of shooting to spread over 6 days. And I sort of structured what the movie would be from that. So it was like shooting a series of short films in that way, where the other plus of not having, you know, the movie all about one person is you don't need one person for 6 days straight. So no one has to take off work to get paid little to nothing or nothing, you know, as most people, it was mostly friends and people that were willing to do this for nothing. The budget was just about $2,000, which I saved from, you know, landscaping over the summer, which was
$2,000?
it was mostly used to feed everybody and rent.
Wow.
You know, we got a discount on lights, so $600 for these 2 LED tube lights, you know, that everyone's using now. And yeah, what's funny too is I was working for Adam and Elisa, who are 2 of the stars of the movie. They have a landscaping business, so it was like these 2 actors, their money from their business that they paid me for working for them ended up going into the movie they did not get paid to be in, which is very funny. But yeah, so because it was, you know, instead of, you know, a movie not focused on one person, more a series of little groups of people, it was like 2 days we spent with these characters, 2 days with these characters, 2 days with these characters. We got Paul Lazar, who was in Silence of the Lambs and a lot of other Jonathan Demme movies, and then some Bong Joon-ho movies, just because he used to act with a friend, an old teacher of mine, Roy Fodry. They were part of the Booster Group in the 80s. And so Paul Lazar, our first day was shooting with Paul Lazar. He came out, and for one day we shot 2 scenes with him. And so yeah, it was very, very, very limited. We had very limited time, limited resources. But I think that the submission to that, you know, being like, all right, it's going to be very, very limited. And because we just kind of ran with that is the only reason we kind of got anything out of it, because we weren't trying to, you know, work outside of our means, you know.
Can I ask you one quick question? But a lot of indie filmmakers shoot in the woods or the forest or the beach. What is the key to getting what you need when you're shooting in the forest?
Well, I mean, a lot of it. I love. I don't know if you know that Hong Sang-soo, that filmmaker. He's always talking about. He shoots like 3 movies a year. He's shooting like, you know, less and less money as he goes, and he always talks about he respects what is given. I kind of think about that too. When you've got no money and no resources, you have to sort of take what is given. And he always talks about how weather is the ultimate given. You know, you cannot change if it's raining or not raining. It's going to be what it's going to be. So that's the plus for me for being, you know, having no money, is that when you shoot outside, generally you can get away without having permits or permission. You know, if you do it not near a place where the cops are or somebody that owns property, you can do it. Whereas if you want to film inside, I mean, I've got a limited, mostly it's me. When I'm trying to film in a house or in a room, I'm thinking, where are the houses and rooms I've been in around here that I even can imagine, let alone, you know, ask someone to shoot in, because I can't guess from standing outside a house if that would be good to film inside it, you know? So when you can film things outside, you don't need permission, and all you have to deal with is just the forces of nature, you know, hoping that it doesn't rain on you or different things like that, or that it's not blisteringly hot. We shot this in August a couple years ago, so it was very, very hot for a lot of the days. But I don't know. There's so many elements that are so out of your hands that I think that's part of the allure of it to me, is that you almost have to just deal with it. You know, you since you don't have control, you got to just deal. And then what I love about that is you get this sense of it almost feels like you're making a documentary and taking pieces of documentary result. You know what I mean? Like things that you don't have control over, like more, especially if you let an actor loose into a public situation or something like that, you know, not like to mess with people, but just, you know what I mean? It's like you're sort of just capturing what ends up happening. And then you fold this, whatever you captured, into this sort of a fairy tale thing that you're creating that is not real. You know what I mean? Using all these accidental pieces of reality into your, you know, not real thing, right?
Hey, we've got over 1,500 people watching live, and we've got questions from our audience. Let's go through these real quick. Let's talk to our audience here. No budget. Tony Ilias 2561. No budget. I love that. Should popularize that term. And would Techniques one says, would Terrifier be considered mumble gore?
It's a good question. Do you think so?
I don't think so. I
don't
think
so.
that's way more planned. I think that mumblecore I associate with it's
Fast
more fast and loose, exactly.
Improv based stuff a lot, right?
Yeah. Red Len 5689. Nick, if the film was no budget, does that mean you didn't have craft services? Well, you answered.
Craft services might be a stretch of a term, but I certainly did a lot of stop and shop. I went to the grocery store a lot and got a lot of snacks and you know, beverages, and then was 3 times a day was running to get burritos or pizza or some other food that everyone signed on for, you know. So that was part of the thing. A lot of times I was the one, when we were all driving from one location to the next, I would go and pick up the food or the coffees or whatever else we needed, or one of the actors would do it if I had to go do something else. So everybody, there's no craft services person, but food was eaten and no one starved, thankfully. I'm not that cruel.
From Aid Ellis 24, you're wearing an Art Brut Films hat. What made their brand new company the right fit for your film? How was your experience with them getting the film released onto VOD?
So Art Brut Films is run by Elliot Gibson, who is a really, really great guy. He saw Sweet Relief at it might have been Another Hole in the Head Film Festival in San Francisco. You might have seen the digital version of it, but it has been great. It's my first experience with working with someone distributing, a producer distributor type, and he is just like very, very, very excited about everything filmmaking, everything independent and art and everything, you know, under that umbrella. He has just been so validating and encouraging to me, you know, and it's hard, you know, you hope. It's one of those things when you find that's what the cursed networking is, hopefully, you know, out there to get, you know, it's like meeting all these different people and crossing paths with people, just hoping that you click with somebody. You know, you got to find those special few people that you kind of want to know for a long time and work with for a long time. And Elliot is one of those people for me. He has like done so much to get the film out there. He loves the movie. It's like, it was funny when I first met him and he saw the movie, I was like, yeah, you'd love the movie, and he's like, you know, I was like, all right, I'm not sure. It's not like, you know, I didn't think anyone was trying to lie to me, because no one's gonna make money off of this movie. I didn't think, you know what I mean? So what would he be blowing smoke, you know, for? But finally, after I chilled out a little bit, I'm just like, I think you're telling the truth. You really believe in the movie. You believe in helping independent, you know, creatives. And yeah, he just had luck. He had a film premiere at Tribeca, which won an award. So he's doing really, really exciting stuff, and I'm excited to be working with him right now. He's done so much for me. I'm so thankful.
JTPRX 7589. I'm impressed you were able to use such a small budget. Have you thought about a GoFundMe page for donations?
I did do that for, I've been editing the last film we did for a while now. We've done 3 stints of shooting, and I did do a Kickstarter. I think I did a Kickstarter for this movie, which still did not, we got $5,000 from that, which was great. I mean, for me, that's still more than we shot for 10 days on $5,000. And what's funny is I think $3,000 came from 3 people that each gave $1,000, and then the rest was a bunch of people giving $20 to $30 or something like that, you know. So, but that was, I definitely, I feel bad because a lot of the people I know, it was a lot of my friends that I know are as broke as me. So I still felt bad, but it's heartwarming. You know, it's heartwarming.
How did you manage to get the legendary Paul Lazar to join the project? Says Tony Ilias 2561.
I know it's wild. So my good friend Roy Fodry, who I've known for a while, who was he was teaching me online an online class about script writing at Holyoke Community College out there, which is wild. I don't know what he was doing that, but he's a theater guy. He's been a local theater guy out here in Western Mass since the 70s, and he's done a lot of work with the Wooster Group, where he met Willem Dafoe. He and Willem Dafoe and Paul Lazar did this play together called The Hairy Ape in the 90s. But I remember talking to Roy one time, and I was like, if I could just get like one known actor in a movie, you know, that might, I don't know what that would do, you know. And I was kind of saying that, being like, I know he knows Willem Dafoe, you know, I wonder if that could ever happen. And then he's like, do you know Paul Lazar? And I'm like, that sounds familiar, but I don't know why. And I looked up Paul Lazar, and I was like, oh my God, yes, I do know Paul Lazar. And then he was like, you know, they're super close friends. And Paul Lazar came out and met me, and he was like, all right, you're not too weird, maybe I'll do this. And so he came out, he knew all of his lines, which I hoped he would, and I expected him to, but also wouldn't have been hurt if he didn't. You know, he's doing this charity project, basically. He came out, the first day of shooting was with Paul Lazar, and he just was exquisitely good. Really, really added, he really ran with the improv thing. He probably added 2/3 of stuff to his monologue he's got in the movie, which is probably my favorite part of the film. But yeah, he was great. I think he was surprised by how quickly I was moving, because I'm so used to, you know, because I edit the films too. So as we're shooting, I'm kind of like editing in my head, you know, and I'm like, all right, I think we're good to move on. And he was like, are you sure you want to move on already? You know,
was your shooting ratio like 3 takes? Like what?
Usually it was 3 takes. Sometimes when we shot that bar scene, we had to leave so quick that we got 1 take until we had to get our ass out of there. We had to put things back and get out of there. But yeah, generally 3 takes for each side. If a conversation scene is what we would do. But he was fantastic. It was so great, and I still have to pinch myself that ever happened, and that man that was in Jonathan Demme movies and Bong Joon-ho movies is in my movie. It's insane.
Patrick Lemire says no budget films need a Go Feed Me, where you can send filmmakers Grubhub. And that's good. And then a final question here from JTP RX. Where can we see your film?
So if you happen to be in Encino, California, the film opens today. It's going to play once a day for a week. I believe the showings are at 5:10 at the Lemley Theater at the Townhouse 5, Town Center 5, I believe it's called, in Encino, California. If you're not anywhere near there, it is streaming on Eventive, this VOD site, Eventive, for $15 a stream. And if you watch it and don't like it, you can go on the Letterboxd page and leave me a nasty review saying, why did you take my $15 for this movie? Or you can say something nice, anything. I just love seeing Letterboxd reviews happen. That's very cool to just know the movie's being seen and seeing any kind of response. This movie has been a sort of love it or hate it so far. Either people really, really click with it, or they really, really dislike it. But either way, I like a passionate response other than a non-response, you know?
Great. Well, Nick, thank you so much for joining us. Please come back when you have your next film, and congratulations.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much. Nice to meet you both.